At this time, we'll call to order the regular meeting of Common Council for March 3rd, 2026. Carrie, roll, please.
Alderperson Carpenter.
Here.
Estercon.
Here.
Gantz.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Coniger.
Here.
Ledvina.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
P-Rock.
Here.
And Mayor Boyd.
I am here, thank you. Item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, approval of the agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Alderperson Hanson, seconded, why am I just drawing a blank right now?
That's all right.
Alderperson Carpenter.
I'm leaving, that's why.
Yeah, right, he hasn't been here that
New
long.
haircut.
Questions, comments? Looks like we're all good. That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Up next, item 5, public comment. Comments made during the public comment period shall pertain only to matters under the jurisdiction of the Common Council. Anyone in person have any public comments on items that are not on the agenda? If so, just raise your hand. So we have 2 folks here. I will then go in order. Ann?
Yeah.
Rand, why don't you come up first? You can go to the table right there.
Okay.
And you will give your name and address. And just so you know how this works, you have 5 minutes. We can't comment to you. It's just you comment to us. So there is no conversation back and forth.
Oh.
Then what happens is the city manager, others might hear this and potentially be in touch with you or push it out someplace else.
Okay.
So public comment is just for your chance just to say what you want to say.
Okay.
All right, so have a seat.
Okay. So
Name and address, please.
my name is Annie Raft, R-A-N-F-T, and my address is 134A South Washington Street, right across from Legion Park.
Thank you.
Sit down and
Yep.
do I turn this on or?
It's all set and ready to go.
Okay. All right. So I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to hurry. I did not know I couldn't ask you questions. That means you can't answer if I asked you
That is
something?
correct.
Okay. Well, then I want to tell you about the bus system of De Pere. I don't know if all of you are aware that there is no regular bus routes in De Pere anymore. When I moved here in 1998, we had 2 buses, an 11 and a 15. And at that, I know how to drive now, but at that time I did not know how to drive. So the bus provided me transportation to and from work. I had a daughter, to take her to the doctor, take her to activities. I did grocery shopping. I did all that by bus. Without that, I might have wound up homeless because I needed that bus to get, to where I was going so I could remain self-sufficient. So I called I was wondering where the bus was, and I haven't seen any 11 or 15 for a couple of years. I called the Green Bay Metro, and there was a lady named Patty who's in charge of Green Bay Metro, and she said, no, I've been here forever, she told me. She came in 2004. And she told me there's no more buses in the city of De Pere since 2019 because she said she implemented this change because she said there wasn't enough passengers on the buses and that the bus drivers didn't like going all the way to De Pere for 1 or 2 passengers. Although for the whole time I rode the bus, sometimes it was packed and sometimes it wasn't. They were very nice bus drivers, very courteous, sympathetic, just the best bus drivers I've ever seen, and always clean. So she also told me that they took a vote and that they decided it's not cost efficient to have De Pere buses, and then they changed the Green Bay buses. They stop at 7 or 7:30. And I worked for homeless veterans for a while as a cook, and it would be heartbreaking because they would get a job and they had no way to get to work because there were no buses. And yes, they hired a driver to drive them, but the driver only worked 5 hours a week. So there's no transportation for our veterans either. You know, when you're homeless, you don't have a car. And so it's a matter of work. Plus also for her to tell me, she's very adamant on the phone. She does all the talking. You can't get a word in edgewise. So I asked her for a room, and I'm going to have a room there March 16th at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to get, that's the perfect place because I can get other pedestrians to be in the meeting, and I'm going to get their stories and see if they want to talk on video, and then bring them here and bring them to the mayor downtown and say, you know what, we need the bus to go back to 10 o'clock at night. I see people walking in De Pere on the industrial neighborhood in West De Pere because there's no bus. Okay, so there's also a thing, then she said, well, for De Pere we have bus on demand. And the bus on
I
demand...
apologize, Annie, but you have 1 minute.
Okay, the bus on demand doesn't work because people are waiting an hour and a half freezing. She said they love it. I've yet to meet anybody who loves it. So my thing is I need to, well, I have 2 other people that are with me right now that they want to get the bus back to De Pere. Plus you're building that hotel here. Wouldn't it be great if you had a bus stop there and they could take people all over? You know, so, one more thing. I was just informed that the city of De Pere has always paid $180,000 for the bus, okay? And for the 2 buses, 11 and 15. So if you're not having those buses and you're still paying the $180,000 a year, don't you think you should get a refund then?
Sorry, I can't comment on that. Annie, what we can do then is, our city manager, Kim Flum, we have your email and I believe phone number.
Yeah.
Routed through Alderperson Hanson. She can connect with you and talk more about this and give you some options as far as presenting your cases elsewhere as well, too.
Okay, and the money, you are entitled to a refund for 6 years if you're not having a bus.
Right, and that I can't comment on.
Okay.
Thank,
Well,
thank you very much, Annie. Up next, we have Tom Gallagher. Tom, come to the table and
If that was my last name, I'd be in the pizza business.
Gallenberger. I should slow down. Tom Gallenberger.
It does
Did I do better that time?
yes.
Have a seat, Tom. My apologies.
I'm here tonight because we have a deer problem in West
We need
Appear.
an address and
And,
Oh, I'm sorry. We need your name and address.
it's Tom Gallenberger, and our address is 1919 Snowy Owl Court.
Thank you.
All right. I'm here because we have a deer problem. And in speaking with the neighbors, they've experienced it all. I like deer. They're fine-looking animals. But when I'm picking up buckets of crap every day, that's not a good thing. I realize there's complications in bringing this issue forward. But if there's something that can be done, I've tried everything possible legally to stop them from coming in our yard. They come in the neighbors, they come in ours, but they like ours better than anybody else's. I don't know why.
Clean restrooms.
My wife calls me Santa. Yeah. So I realize there's some humor with this, because it's a concern more than a complaint. It's an animal, and they're going to live with and amongst us. But if there's anything we can do to control that, I'd certainly appreciate the consideration. They happen to be almost like ghost deer. They show up at 3 o'clock in the morning, the lights go on. 5 o'clock in the morning before church, they're laying back by the patio. They're like pets, and I'm going, what did I ever do? It's so, again, I see the humorous part of it, but it's also a concern. So I thank you for listening. But I have to say this, because the pier starts with DE. Maybe there's a connection there somewhere.
Thank you very much, Tom. By the way, I believe you connected with our Parks and Rec Director, Marty Kusabucky, and if you want to reach out more, he can give you a little background information on where we are and how many times we've actually addressed this issue. So we can't do that here. He can give you more of an update.
We've spoken before,
Okay.
and he thought it would still be a good idea to bring it forward.
Absolutely, we appreciate, of course it is.
And I appreciate you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. While we are in public comments, anyone else in person or virtually want to speak while the public comment period is open? Virtual wise, just state your name. And then for the third and final time,
Will now be recorded.
during the public comment portion, if anyone has anything to say, now is your time. All right, let's go back to the meeting then. Item 6, consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve all items under consent agenda, number 6, unless anyone wants to pull any out.
Take a second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Carpenter. Since we've just done that, there is no discussion nor comments. That said,
Amy seconded that.
oh, Amy, Alderperson Cuniger seconded, I'm sorry.
Okay, we sound so much alike.
I must have been looking that way. That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I'll break just slightly here. We do have our new Park Board member, Jeremy Beck, right here. If you want to step up and just wave, everyone read your stuff. And then, of course, he's already met Marty Kosobucky right there. So we're all ready to go. Thank you, Jeremy. It's all set. Thanks for coming in. Item 7, new business. 7A, recommendation from the Board of Park Commissioners to approve revising the Agricultural Specifications Manual regarding tree planting. Arboriculture.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Hanson, seconded by Alderperson Nelson. Discussion, comments. Alderperson Hanson.
Yeah, just a question for Marty. So my understanding is a lot of the trees planted in the terrace are ordered through the spring and fall tree planting windows. So are we offering these small stature trees through the tree planting program?
Yes.
Okay. And have we tried to steer people more towards the large stature trees and they just are insistent on the small stature ones?
If someone is adamant that they want a small tree, we really don't have any leverage in our Arboricultural Specifications
Thank you very
Manual
much, Marty.
that allows us to kind of overrule them. So what we're asking is for a little bit of teeth in our manual that allows us to steer the right tree for the right place.
And they could always decide not to move forward, but
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, if they want a small tree and a big tree can go there, and we really think a big tree should go there, and that's what they're stuck on, they have the choice of saying, okay, well, I don't want a tree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Looks like we're all good. That said, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7B, recommendation from the Board of Park Commissioners to approve a pop-up beer garden fundraiser with Stubborn Brothers, with the proceeds being allocated to benefit to Pere Dog Park.
Move to approve.
A second.
Motion by Alderperson Levina, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Discussion, comments? Other than a big thank you to Stubborn Brothers. Roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Carpenter.
Aye.
Estercon.
Aye.
Gantz.
Aye.
Hanson.
Aye.
Hunniger. Ledvina.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
P-Rock.
Aye.
Mayor Boyd.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7C, recommendation from the Board of Park Commissioners to approve K Distributing as the beer vendor for the beer gardens for 2026 to 2028.
I'll move to approve.
A second.
Motion by Alderperson Nelson, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Discussion, comments. Looks like we're all good. Roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Estercon.
Aye.
Gantz.
Aye.
Hanson.
Aye.
Hunniger.
Aye.
Ledvina.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
P-Rock.
Aye.
Mayor Boyd.
Aye.
Carpenter.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7D, recommendation from the Board of Park Commissioners to approve the beer garden revenue policy.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Levina, seconded by Alderperson Nelson. Discussion, comments. Alderperson Hanson.
Yeah, Marty, so I assume these projects are going to be drawn off the CIP list, capital improvement project list. But I'm just wondering the timing of it, because some of these CIP items might be included in the city manager's draft budget, and it sounds like this is going before her draft budget, so.
Correct. So the intent is to allow the park board the ability to make recommendations for how that money gets allocated. They don't have the final say on it, obviously, because it would go through the city manager's budget and then the council. But it's the mechanism to allow the park board to review it first. If they review it after the city manager's budget, it makes it a little difficult for the city manager to appropriately make the numbers work. Hopefully that makes sense.
And we're probably only going to target projects that can be 100% funded with the revenue alone? Or would it be some projects where it just goes towards covering some of it?
Great question. I don't know if I have a perfect answer for that because we haven't ran into that as of yet. It would be much easier if the allocation would be for 100% funding. But I suppose the park board could say we have $40,000 in the coffers and a playground's going to cost $80,000. Therefore, we're going to recommend it go at that playground and the city pitch in. But then it was up to the city manager to implement that into the budget proposal. So I don't have a perfect answer for you, but it would make life easier if it would be 100% funded.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Again, so everyone understands, this kind of cleans up what we have going right now at the beer garden to give the park board some say in it, yet ultimately it's us who have the final decision. So it really did a good job of cleaning that part of it up.
It just clarified the revenue. So while I think previous councils and everyone had talked about it, it was never really formalized in writing that we wanted to use the beer garden revenue for these projects. So that was another core component to this, to formalize that.
Other questions or comment? Looks like we're all good then. That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, I think D is not. Okay. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Very rarely I get that right, so I actually had that one right, though, but thanks,
was my
Carrie.
bad.
No, it's not your bad. Item 7E, consideration and possible action to authorize up to $10,000 from unassigned reserves to repair the Fox Point boat launch.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Gantz, seconded by Alderperson Hanson. Discussion or comments? Alderperson Carpenter.
Yes, I understand that we're in the process of creating an ordinance to stop this from power lift the boats. But the county gets the monies from the seasonal. Does the county have any say on that? Or you can't answer that right now? It doesn't matter. I mean, will Brown County be able to have some say on our ordinance?
Marty?
We cooperate with Brown County for the ticket program. However, the Fox Point boat launch is 100% under our jurisdiction. The only cut, if they will, that they get is a portion of the seasonal annual pass sales. All day pass revenue goes to the city, but that's the only arrangement that we have with them. Anything related to the actual facility is 100% on the city of De Pere.
Okay, thank you, and I'm looking forward. I won't see that ordinance, but it's a good ordinance.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? All right, that said, roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Gantz,
Aye.
Hanson,
Aye.
Cuniger,
Aye.
Ledvina,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
P-Rock,
Aye.
Mayor Boyd,
Aye.
Carpenter,
Aye.
Esserkon.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8, old business. 8A, consideration and possible action on redirection of community service grant funds. Let's go to F. 7F, for consideration and possible action on the First Amendment to the development agreement between the City of De Pere and William Street Development Partners LLC as the assignee of De Pere 230 Development Partners LLC regarding the development of the former Shopko Site, Building F, parcels ED 861 and ED 875. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson P-Rock. Sorry about that, Jason. Questions, comments? Dan, you want to come up, make some comments? Alderperson
Yeah, I'm just
Hanson.
looking for a summary because I didn't see a staff memo with this one.
Sounds good.
All right, what's in front of you tonight is a first, I guess you'd say, of a second or two-part development agreement amendment. Primarily, this one is to, if you remember several months ago, we purchased 20 feet from Associated Bank to move our parking structure to the south. Part of that now means we have 20 feet to the north that we aren't using, that as part of this DA would be transferred to William Street Investment Partners, so they can actually expand their, I guess you'd say, their offerings to their tenants, and they'll have a proposed plaza space in between the two of them, becoming more of an urban space in between the two of them. So part of this initial round is to clean up those actions, and the second round or a second DA will be a couple other things. But in this case, this is primarily for the transfer of that 20 feet to the north.
All good? Other questions or comments? All right, sounds like we're all good then. That said, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now let's go to item 8, old business. Item 8A, consideration and possible action on redirection of community service grant funds awarded to VFW Post 2113 in the amount of $250.
Make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Levin, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Discussion, comments? Looks like we're all good, and we need a roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Hanson.
Aye.
Coniger.
Aye.
Ledvina.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
P-Rock.
Aye.
Mayor Boyd.
Aye.
Carpenter.
Aye.
Estercon.
Aye.
Gantz.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Section 9, resolutions. Now note that we can make a motion to suspend the rules and take up items A through E under Section 9 if someone desires. Or does someone want to have one of the ones inside of it discussed and talked about? That said, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and take up items A through E under Section 9.
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson P-Rock. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I will then make a motion, and this will be a roll call vote, to approve all the Section 9 resolutions.
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Nelson. Discussion, comments? That said, roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Coniger.
Aye.
Ledvina.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
P-Rock.
Aye.
Mayor Boyd.
Aye.
Carpenter.
Aye.
Estercon.
Aye.
Gantz.
Aye.
Hanson.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 10, informational. DPR Police Department annual update. We have Chief Moraski right here to give us an update. So, Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Promise I won't bore you with too many PowerPoint slides, but I do like to have a few visual aids as we speak. Bless you.
No problem.
I'd just like to start by saying that the state of the De Pere Police Department is strong.
Okay.
De Pere remains a very safe city. And the reason that we are well positioned is because of our people and our preparedness. You're going to hear a lot about those two themes as I go through this presentation. So just briefly tonight, we're going to talk about our current structure. We're going to do a review of the year 2025. We're going to take a look at a few challenges that are currently facing the De Pere Police Department, and then we're going to take a look forward to the rest of 26 and beyond. So currently, the De Pere Police Department is authorized for 43 full-time employees. We're currently sitting at 42 of those 43 positions. We have had a period with a number of retirements, and we actually have another retirement on the docket for this coming September. We are hopeful that we have two good candidates in the pipeline. I'm hoping to make conditional offers to those two candidates, but in order to do that, I'm going to have to come to the Finance Committee and the Council to make a request to overhire one in anticipation of that retirement in September. But our current breakdown right now is we have 25 in our Patrol Division, we have 10 in our Investigations and Community Policing Division, and we have 4 in our Professional Standards and Administration Division. Those divisions are overseen by Captain Merstick in Patrol, Captain Opichka in Investigations and Community Policing, and Captain Jake Nowak in Professional Standards. So in 2025, we had a number of headline or noteworthy events. The first one is just kind of a summary that we had 12,900 calls for service in the calendar year. Of those, 2,004 of those resulted in formal police reports. Now, we document things that we do on every one of those incidents, but there's a level at which we now create a formal police report as opposed to doing what we call CAD notes in our computer-aided dispatch system. So if it's a more minor situation, one that's not going to require much in the way of follow-up or investigation or anything like that, that could just be a notes type call. But we did have 2004 that resulted in full police reports. In those 2004 police reports, we had 515 referrals to the district attorney's office. That would be any misdemeanor or any felony that we are requesting charges for. We obviously also have the municipal court system, and that number of 515 DA referrals does not include any of the charges that were written to the municipal court or any traffic citations, parking citations, things of that nature. One of the biggest items on the list from last year, though, is the seizure of 220 potentially lethal doses of fentanyl in the city of De Pere. I'm going to talk later a little bit about our work with the Metro Drug Task Force, but I just wanted to mention that this particular statistic is based on just the work of your De Pere police officers here within the city of De Pere. We did unfortunately have one traffic crash fatality in 2025. It was a motorcycle-involved accident, and we also had one officer-involved critical incident in 2025. As far as the kinds of things that our officers are doing out there, we have a breakdown of our top 20 most current or most common, rather, CAD incident types. I'm not going to read through the entire list here for you, but I will point out that our most common CAD incident still remains traffic, followed by crime prevention, accidents, welfare checks, and on down the line. The reason that traffic is interesting is up until a couple of years ago, we used to have a dedicated traffic officer. That position was rolled into one of the two existing community policing officers, which do some traffic enforcement as part of their duties when we get complaints, when we have traffic concerns that are brought to us. But I also wanted to point that out because it's not just the community police officers that are doing this. Our regular patrol officers are also making those traffic stops, and it's a strong reason why that is one of our largest pieces of our call or caseload there. If you're curious about time of day, these are the things that we look at when we're looking at how do we want to schedule and deploy our officers. This is a graph actually taken from the last 5 years, so it's kind of aggregate data, but it shows you what hour of the day we're getting most of our police calls for service. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that there's a pretty big drop-off between 3 and 6 a.m. Most of the citizens are home sleeping, and there's not a lot of traffic yet for the day then, but as people start to go to work, you start to see things pick up. And then, of course, our call activity actually peaks in the early afternoon hours. So if you were to look at our patrol staffing matrix, you would see that we have the most officers deployed when we generally have the highest call volumes. And that's by design to try to provide the best level of service we can. One of the challenges that we're facing is something that has actually been increasing over time, and it is something that takes up a substantial amount of our time and our effort lately, and that is mental health challenges. It's estimated, and this is not just within De Pere, this is nationwide, but it is estimated that 20% of all police calls for service involve somebody that's either in a mental health crisis, in a substance abuse crisis, or in a situation where both of those overlap. So mental health calls continue to be a major driver. They also tend to create more complex and time-sensitive calls for us. A call that is more complex in nature might take more than one officer, and it might take those 2 or even 3 officers many more hours than what would typically have been a simpler call for service. The Brown County as a whole has some capacity challenges, and that's borne out by some of our data. We had 20 reports in 2025 where we actually placed an individual into what is called an EM1, which is emergency medical custody. Basically, it's a protective custody to prevent them from doing harm to themselves or others. Of those 20 reports, we actually ended up having to transport 8 individuals down to Oshkosh to the Winnebago Mental Health Center. Obviously, that's a pretty good road trip, a long drive, but part of that, I guess, calculus is it's not uncommon for these EM1 calls to last 8 to 12 hours from start to finish. That's an awfully long time for somebody to be stuck with one of our officers in police custody in the back of a squad car, visiting a hospital, going through all these different steps of the process before we're actually able to transport them down to the services that they need, in this case in Winnebago County. The other thing that has gone on in Brown County over the past many years is we are averaging anywhere between 30 and 40 suicides per year in the county. So we see that as a county we have a lot of challenges in that regard. And then another thing I just wanted to point out quickly is among officers, 84% of surveyed officers said that mental health calls are their top challenge. So that's becoming the biggest thing that officers are facing as far as our jobs out there. One other thing I'd like to talk about briefly is the use of force for De Pere. This is something that I like to report on, to be very transparent. I think it's one of those things that helps build community trust, is for everybody to know exactly what we're doing when it comes to the use of force. One thing I will point out, though, about the statistics I'm about to go over real quick is some items are reported as a use of force, and this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, even when no force was actually used. And I'll give you the two examples. If an officer displays a taser and issues a warning, but doesn't actually tase someone or doesn't actually deploy darts, we're still logging that display of the taser as a warning. It's logged separately from an actual use of the taser. The same thing goes with a firearm or handguns. There are times when an officer will display a handgun or a long gun as a warning, but obviously not discharge it. So I just wanted to point out that some of the numbers you're about to see do include, it's listed as a use of force, but it's actually a warning was issued, not actual force. And I'll just kind of break those down very quickly here. So in 2025, we had 62 incidents out of the 12,900 incidents that we logged where De Pere police officers actually logged a use of force. That breaks down to less than 0.5% of all of our incidents, 0.48%. That number is extremely good. It is one that we obviously hope and pray can stay at that very low level, but that is very good even compared to police departments all across the nation. Most departments are in the 1% to 2% range. So the fact that we're at less than 0.5% for 2025, I believe, is outstanding. That shows that our officers are doing everything that they can to use their two most important tools. Number one, their ears, and number two, their ability to speak to people. If you're doing those things and de-escalating situations before they turn physical, that's how you can end a lot of these scenarios without force having to be used. So with those 62 incidents, there were 159 total reportable events that occurred that were reported. The list is on the right-hand side there. I'm not going to go through every single statistic, but I will point out that there are the ones that are listed in blue. Those 4 categories are what we call empty hand techniques. And the other categories that are displayed in black typically involve a piece of equipment, whether that would be a squad car, whether that would be a taser, things of that nature. So for example, we had 13 instances where officers displayed a taser, but we actually only had 4 instances where officers deployed or tased someone in that sense. Same thing, we had 4 vehicle pursuits. We did unfortunately have 3 officers on one incident that were involved in a critical incident, which involved a lethal use of force. That happened in July of 2025. That case is one of those cases that we as a department do not investigate. State statute requires that we have an outside entity look at that. So we called the Wisconsin Department of Justice. They sent their Division of Criminal Investigation, or DCI, up. They handled that investigation. That investigation is then turned over to the Brown County District Attorney's Office. They do a final review of it and determine whether or not the use of force was justifiable under the circumstances. And that is how they ruled in this case in 2025. Another thing that we document that is not required as a use of force documentation, but it is one that we want to track, is the use of what we call the WRAP device. The WRAP device is essentially a restraint system that's designed to help take someone into protective custody when they otherwise might be thrashing around. It's not uncommon in some cases for people to encounter where they are smashing their heads into the cage in a squad car, for example, or they're trying to thrash around in the back of an ambulance on a gurney or something like that. And the only way to bring them under any kind of control for their own safety is to place them in basically a full body restraint system, which is what the WRAP device is. You'll also notice in the photo the gentleman there has a helmet on. That's kind of like a boxing helmet. It's a protective foam rubber helmet. So that, again, to try to protect them if they are trying to smash their head into the squad, into a window, into some part of the ambulance. In 2025, we actually deployed the WRAP device 12 times in the city of De Pere. That's my phone? Siri is apparently wanting to chime in. But we did deploy the WRAP 12 times in the city of De Pere in 2025. And it is something that we have discovered to be very, very effective for protecting somebody that is that far intent on injuring themselves or others. It is something we have also been able now to deploy in all of our squads, so there's no longer delay. We used to just have one of these. We now actually have one in all of our primary patrol squads, so there's no delay in getting it to the scene. It's literally going with our officers on every call. So if we do need it, it is close at hand for our use. So what are some of our major accomplishments in 2025? Well, I'm proud to say that we did hire 2 officers that have 4-year degrees. Sometimes in the current job climate, we don't always have the option to get somebody that has a 4-year degree, but we did just recently hire 2 that are currently in training, Officer Splum and Officer Lowney. They are currently in field training. We are hoping that they will be graduated by May at the latest, and then fully fit for solo patrol. As I mentioned earlier, we are trying to hire 2 additional officers after that. But it is a good thing for us to be, as a department, at 42 out of our 43 positions. There's a lot of other agencies in our area that are struggling to remain fully staffed, and it is something that I'm very proud of our efforts and the Human Resources Department's efforts, that we are able to try to stay as close as we can to our full complement of officers. And we're also doing that in a way where we're not cutting corners with our recruitment, we're not cutting corners with our background checks. We're still going out trying to find the best quality candidates that we can. Some other things that we did is we participated and actually facilitated parts of the multi-jurisdictional, multidisciplinary countywide training this year. That's the active shooter, the mass casualty, those kinds of incidents where we anticipate having a large number of victims, whether it's from a natural disaster, a mechanical disaster like a plane crash or a train derailment, or it could be from a bad actor such as an active shooter or somebody using a vehicle in an attack where they're trying to run multiple people over, things of that nature. Those are obviously very complicated incidents to deal with, which means they are very complicated incidents to train for. It involves us, the fire department, emergency medical services, other branches of local government, major stakeholders such as the major hospitals and medical systems. But that is something that is going to continue to be a focus all around the county so that we in De Pere and all of our partners around the area are prepared to deal with any of those kinds of events. We also completed a remodel of the officers' workspace. It's a remodel and expansion, so we do have more space available for our officers to do their work. And we also implemented a major officer wellness initiative with the Wellness Command Post. You've probably heard the old adage that you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, we want to make sure that our officers' cups remain full. We want them to stay healthy themselves, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to facilitate that. So we have that wellness initiative alongside of our peer officer support team. We replaced the De Pere Police Department security camera system. That was due for its end of life cycle. This year we're going to be looking at replacing a lot of the exterior city hall cameras. As part of that renewal, every 5 years or so, those cameras need to be replaced to remain functional and high quality and all that. And then lastly, one of the things that we've been working on for a few years now in the budget cycle is trying to even out our budget such that instead of having spikes and valleys where one year we might ask for replacement of 10 different components and the next year we might only ask for 2, we're trying to get that equipment on a regular replacement cycle to try to help keep our budget a little bit flatter and more predictable over time. So that's been part of our focus on the budgeting side of things. Say just a real quick word on drug seizures. As I mentioned earlier, 220 potentially lethal doses of fentanyl were taken off the streets by De Pere police officers this last year. That 440 milligrams doesn't sound like a lot, but when you realize that it only takes 2 milligrams of fentanyl to be potentially lethal for most people, it's the amount of fentanyl shown on the picture there next to that penny. It's what looks like 10 or 12 grains of salt. That's all it takes to kill most people when it comes to fentanyl. And there are variations of fentanyl, such as carfentanil, that are even more concentrated and more lethal. So that number, even though it sounds small, 440 milligrams, potentially save 220 lives. So that's something that I'm very proud of our officers that are doing that drug interdiction work out there for doing that. And we obviously seize other forms of illicit drugs while we're out and about as well. Just wanted to briefly discuss the critical incident from July. As I mentioned, we turned that investigation over to the Department of Criminal Investigation. It's not an outcome that anybody wanted, but one of the things that our officers are very, very good at is trying everything they possibly can to provide support. I don't want anybody to come away from this incident thinking anything other than our officers tried everything they possibly could to prevent the outcome that ultimately happened. That was obviously reviewed by the district attorney's office. They ruled that that was all justifiable, but it still comes back to mental health concerns. There are cases that despite all the training in the world and the best equipment in the world, and I believe that the De Pere Police Department has great people, we have great equipment, and we have great training, but there are some times when we have those outcomes that we just don't want. And this was unfortunately one of those scenarios. Would like to say a little bit about the revitalization of Neighborhood Watch. You've probably noted that some of the newly De Pere branded Neighborhood Watch signs have started to go up around the community. You see some of the outlines of the various neighborhood watches in De Pere. One thing that we're really trying to do now moving forward is to really revitalize that program to be a lot more of a two-way communication system. It's a system that has kind of not been utilized to its fullest potential over the past few years. And that's something that we're actively trying to work on. That's one of the reasons we wanted to institute the community police officers. And they're going out, they're trying to make themselves, and then other city departments as well, available to the neighborhoods that want information from the city. If their information is, crime prevention oriented, if it's crimes of concern in the neighborhood, obviously that's our wheelhouse. But if they have concerns about other things, then we're hoping to network with other city departments and invite them to come along with us to neighborhood watch meetings, to these community types of events. And that's something that was very popular many, many years ago, but the number of, and frequency of those individual neighborhood meetings has really kind of dwindled over time. And that's something that we're really trying to take a hard look at and really refresh with our 2 community police this year. So stay tuned for more on community policing and neighborhood watch. Lastly, just some other challenges that we're facing, like all departments, recruitment and retention. If you walk around downstairs, you'll see a lot of very young-looking police officers now. It pains me to say that this coming September, I will officially be the oldest employee of the De Pere Police Department. I'm only 51 years of age right now, but in September, I'll be the oldest one working here. So you can tell from that our department has gotten very young very quickly. But that's one of the challenges that we face with training. We're trying to do everything we possibly can to pass along our institutional knowledge to the young officers coming in. That's why it's important that we have good field training officers, and we're doing everything possible to try to bring them up to speed as quickly as possible, again, without cutting corners. But in the next 5 years or so, you're going to see probably another 8 or 9 retirements, and our median age is going to drop even further. Right now, if you think of the Green Bay Packers, the last couple of seasons, they've had one of the youngest rosters in the NFL. Well, we're approaching having one of the youngest rosters probably in the Northeast Wisconsin region when it comes to our police officers. So that is a challenge, and we're doing a lot of extra training and things to overcome that. We're obviously looking forward to some city growth. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. As I mentioned earlier with the mental health concerns, call volume and complexity is becoming a challenge. 12,900 calls that take an hour each maybe is not a big deal. 12,900 calls that take 3 hours each with multiple officers, you can see where that can become challenging. So those mental health calls and in some cases the scarcity of resources are things that we are looking to address. It's one of the reasons we went after hiring John Bushmaker, our social worker, many years ago. He has been a great resource. I wish we actually had another one, but the situation is what it is. We have a lot of mental health concerns, but we are trying our best to address with solutions rather than arresting our way out of problems. We're trying to connect with services. We're trying to do a lot of those long-term solutions as opposed to always just going to the enforcement side of things. Budget constraints, we're seeing an increase in technology needs in the department as technology evolves and technological-based crimes evolve. And of course, technology tends to get more expensive over time depending on how much of it you're implementing. So we are expecting to see some increasing technology needs. And as part of that, we are seeing new types of crime. You've probably all heard of what are called deep faking or deep fakes, artificial intelligence where they can take a video of somebody and make them say something completely different. You may have seen an interview of Jordan Love where he's talking all kinds of trash about the Chicago Bears, for example. It looks like a real press conference. It looks like he's sitting at the Lambeau Field press booth, and that press conference never actually happened in real life. That is how advanced AI is getting. So that's something that we're seeing. There are even scams where people are impersonating police, calling people to say, hey, you never went to your jury duty assignment. You have a warrant out for your arrest. You better take action. You better pay this fine. You better do this, that. So there are scams where they're actually using voice cloning and things like that. So those are the kinds of things that we're seeing on the horizon from technology's perspectives. So looking forward, one of the things that we are looking at along with city growth, and this is true for many departments, not just the police department, is the use of impact fees. As new developments are coming in, if that's going to require additional capacity on the part of the city, we're looking at, can some of those impact fees be utilized to help the department expand, whether it's through equipment, staffing, things of that nature. We're also looking at succession planning. Myself and Captain Chattel-Pitchka were both really blessed to have the opportunity a whole decade ago already, time flies, to go and attend the FBI National Academy. But Chad and I are also both over 50 now. So we're getting to the point where, we only have so many years left in our career. So we want to make sure that other people in our agency have something like that. I'm proud to say that our very own Captain Nate Merstick was accepted to the FBI National Academy. He's going to get to go and attend that for 10 weeks starting this June. So we're all going to have to pick up a little bit of slack while Nate's gone for those 10 weeks. But I can say from personal experience, it is extremely valuable training and one that will position him to be a great future leader. Our other captain, Jake Nowak, is also on the waiting list for that academy, so my hope is that sometime in the next few years he will also get the opportunity to attend. National Night Out, one of our big neighborhood watch community events this year. It's always the first Tuesday in August, but this year we're actually looking at centralizing it. Some of the feedback we got from some of the neighborhood groups is it's a lot to put on a neighborhood block party. They've been doing it that way for many, many years, so they asked, would we consider doing kind of one central city-wide National Night Out? And we said, sounds great, let's give it a shot. So we're going to be trying that this year. So stay tuned for more on what that's going to look like, but it's going to be the same time. It's going to be that first Tuesday in August as it always is. And then the discussion is maybe we alternate years. Maybe the year after we go back to the neighborhood meeting so we can actually get out and see everybody in their actual neighborhood environments. And then lastly, we're just going to continue with community engagement and expand on it as much as we can. You'll probably see us out at things like Coffee with a Cop. You'll see us out at the beer gardens. You'll see us out doing as much as we can to just be available in public for the members of the community to contact us, talk with us, just to be as accessible as we possibly can. That's all I have, unless any of you have any questions.
Very informative, and I'm sure some of you might have some questions. I like the idea of the National Night Out. That had been brought up a few times at some of the neighborhoods, and we've talked about this in the past as well, too. So I should note as well, Tyler Blum, who's new and being trained, a Deeper High School grad. I taught him and coached him a few years ago. So it's nice to have people here stick around and be part of the organization. So congratulations to that great person. Anyone have any questions or comments? Alderperson Nelson.
Yeah, just wondering if you're seeing an increase in fentanyl or if it's pretty steady right now, or?
Well, us in the city are not really seeing an increase. I think if you ask the Drug Task Force countywide, they would have a different answer.
Sure.
But at least for us, it's remained pretty steady over time.
Are you seeing it in pill form, or what are you?
Yeah, we're seeing it in pill form, and a lot of times it's put together in a press to look kind of like a Xanax tablet or something similar to that.
Like the M, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the most typical way that our officers encounter.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
That's one of the reasons we always try to, when we talk to anybody like from the college age population, we tell them don't do pill parties, because you just never know what's actually in them. It might look like a pill. It might even have a logo like a pill, because some of the molds they have are real sophisticated.
Yeah.
But you just can't take it at face value.
It's in everything now, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Thank you. Other questions, comments? Alderperson Gantz.
You mentioned you get a lot of calls, 20% on mental health. What kind of training do you give your officers to enable them to be able to handle those calls?
Well, we actually have a lot of mandatory training, and then we also have some, I don't want to call it elective training, but it is training that some officers choose to attend, and we encourage them to attend, called Crisis Intervention Training, or CIT. Sometimes you hear people refer to it by that acronym. CIT is an additional 40-hour training. It's a week-long commitment, which is obviously expensive because you have to have an officer attend that for that week, and then you have to backfill their patrol shifts and things like that. But it is very valuable training. I myself am a CIT graduate. We have a number of officers that have attended the CIT training, and we're asking more to attend this coming summer. But in addition to that, all of our officers, we all get de-escalation training, whether it's verbal de-escalation or physical de-escalation. And then we also get what's called professional communications training. So through those mechanisms, those are how we try to resolve situations, again, with using our listening skills and our speaking skills before we would actually have to go hands-on in a situation.
Thank you. And is that part of the wellness initiative?
No, the wellness initiative is actually designed to make sure that our officers are in a good space. So if they're experiencing a lot of what they call vicarious trauma, you see a lot of bad things as a police officer. You see people that are horribly injured in car accidents, undergoing medical emergencies, have been beaten up in domestic disturbances, things like that. So our officers do see and experience a lot of trauma vicariously. They aren't necessarily the victim themselves, but they are seeing that happen to other people. And as compassionate human beings, that'll take a toll on officers as well. So our wellness initiative is to try to make sure that our officers are getting the help and support that they need so that they can be empathetic, sympathetic, and approaching every situation with as much humanity as possible so that they avoid things like burnout, avoid things like cynicism. So it's really designed to make sure that our officers are healthy and that they can provide the best service possible.
And I'll ask another. You said that your normal education is different. You hired 2 officers with 4-year degrees. What are your normal higher education requirements?
Well, ordinarily we have to have at least 60 college credits. And then in addition to that, they have to go through that 720-hour police recruit academy. A lot of our students, like, some of them that we have in our hiring pipeline currently are people that have attended like NWTC or Fox Valley Technical College. They get an associate's degree in police science, and then they will get that 720-hour recruit academy on top of that. So that's kind of our baseline requirement. It helps to have some balance and mixture. I mean, it's always good to have some people with 4-year degrees within your ranks as well. They tend to come out maybe a slightly more seasoned. They've got an extra couple of years of life experience in many cases, or customer service experience. One of our current candidates actually, even though he's an associate's degree student, actually was a professional soccer player for a number of years before attending his associate's degree. So he's one of those kind of unique cases where you have a little bit more seasoning, but an associate's degree on top of it. So we're looking to hire people from all walks of life, all different types of experience. But I would say if we had a typical candidate, it's usually somebody with an associate's degree. So having 2 bachelor's degrees being hired in 1 year is a little bit noteworthy for us.
Thank you. And lastly, the National Night Out. We don't get to go and stay very long because we always have
City council meeting?
Is there anything we can do about that? No?
Yeah, we talked about that in the past as well, too. Part of the thing is they're normally wrapped up by the time 7:30 comes around, so I get to a bunch of them. I'm not sure about you. Centralized location, that won't be an issue at all. I mean, clearly we could move council if need be, but that also carries challenges as well with people's schedules and department head schedules. And I know in the past we've talked about this, but it never seemed to work out quite well for us to do that. But it's worthy of conversation.
Take direction from you on how you all want to.
Yeah, but we've talked about it. I can promise you all that. Kim, did you have something you want to add?
No, I just want to thank Chief Morosky for putting this together. We had mentioned when we shifted to consent agenda and taking up these multiple things, it would give us some time to do things like these informational presentations. I can also tell you no one gets excited when the boss comes in and is like, can you put together an informational presentation, please? But he did a great job, and I really appreciate him telling the story of the police department.
Thank you.
Alderperson Carpenter.
Have you noticed an uptick on them fob stealing of vehicles?
No, you mean like the Kias and the Hyundais?
No, where they can program with your keys being close by. That's out on the news a little bit. And
knock on wood, we haven't seen too much of that in De Pere. That's not to say it can't happen, but thus far we've been.
I mean, the word
safe from that.
Criminals really get around pretty quick here. I mean, it's things I didn't realize that, but it's been on the news a little bit, and I'm just hopefully residents are paying attention where they keep their key fobs and everything else in their homes, because if it's close to a door, somebody will walk up there and it's hanging there, they can program it and take your vehicle out of your driveway.
Wow.
There's a device that allows them to clone the signals from the key fob.
You can put them in containers. There's I don't know how well that all works, but I'm just saying, it's out on the news that I just was curious if it hit De Pere. I think it's a little bit south of us.
Yeah, knock on wood, we haven't seen too much of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry if I didn't mean to bring it up.
Thanks for that finished answer.
Well, I'm just going to say there's stuff going on out there.
Any other questions, comments? Alderperson, do you have something else like Alderperson Carpenter's? Or?
No, I got a bunch of other questions.
All right, you go ahead.
Chief, earlier this month, the Green Bay City Council passed an ordinance allowing police to impound vehicles after reckless driving incidents. Do you see a need for that type of ordinance here?
I don't see a ton of reckless driving in De Pere, thankfully. I think our reputation as a speed enforcement community does precede us in a lot of cases. That being said, if someone were to engage in repeated reckless acts, I think that's a good option to have on the table. How often we would likely use it, though, I really don't know. We just don't see that much reckless driving activity, thankfully, in De Pere.
And your department does a great job when we get complaints about hotspots for speeding. One of the concerns I do hear from some residents are they think that the officers are not doing speed traps enough. They seem to think that speed traps would send a message to motorists to kind of deter them from speeding in the future, kind of gets in their head about, we're watching. So I'm just wondering if you can comment on those concerns.
I guess I would point back to the data and say we are doing a lot of traffic enforcement. If there is a constituent that has a concern in a specific area, we've been very responsive to that. That's one of the things that our community police officers do on a daily basis is they will go out and address speed complaints in certain areas. But that being said, that doesn't mean that just because we go and enforce speed in a certain block of a certain street 5 or 6 times a year, that necessarily satisfies the people in that area that are experiencing, higher speeds at different times. So I would definitely encourage people to report those concerns to us, and we'll do everything we possibly can to get officers to go out and enforce speeds in those specific areas. We'll probably ask them, hey, what times of day are the most concerning? I know we've had some complaints in the neighborhoods closest to the high schools during lunch hours, for example. So we, in those cases, will actually get our school resource officers involved as well, not just our community police officers and not just our patrol officers. So I guess my message would be if people have concerns about speed in their neighborhoods, give us a call, send us an email. We'll do everything we can to address those concerns as best we can.
And I know the community or the CSOs, we're doing a lot of like code enforcement type work. Now that we have the new code enforcement officer in place, can you comment on how much that has helped take off some of that burden from the CSOs?
That has been actually very helpful for our CSOs. It has given them time to do a lot of other things. One of the things that we've been able to do is actually expand some of their duties. For example, one thing the CSOs can do now is actually work non-injury car accidents on private property. That doesn't sound like a huge category, but when you realize we have a bunch of major retail centers, people are backing into each other, it's a lot of times very minor accidents. That's something that a CSO now has the time to address in many cases. It also gives them more time to follow up on things like junked and abandoned vehicles, parking enforcement, and it also lets us have them be more proactive when it comes to things like doing park patrols, just kind of being more present in the community, rather than being, tied down by 1 or 2 specific functions. It used to be that a CSO would come in and they would have a stack of items to go and do that were all code enforcement related on any given day. They wouldn't have time to do parking enforcement. They wouldn't have time to do some of these other things. So I would say that code enforcement specialist position has been very, very helpful for our workload especially.
And then, as you mentioned, our police social worker, John Bushmaker, has been doing an excellent job. Hard to believe he's coming up on 5 years, I think, now. Do you anticipate in the near future possibly making a budget recommendation for a second social worker?
It's hard to say without doing more in-depth work and digging into numbers. I know that our call volume has been increasing, and so I would really have to weigh that. I know that it's been a concern, but we're also going to need patrol officers as well. So it's something that I guess I'll have to get back to you on. It's still something being evaluated.
Pick one right now.
What's that?
Pick one right now.
Pick one right now.
Right now.
I would take another patrol officer with special mental health training.
There you go.
With CIT.
Good compromise. That's all.
All right, very good questions. Anyone else have any questions or comments for the chief? Again, very informational, and residents that see this, I think, gather a lot of information about what our PD does. De Pere Police, outstanding. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Please pass it on. Everyone all good? All right, thank you. Up next, item 11, future agenda items. Does anyone have anything? That was really, really close. I'm gonna go to the outside alderperson Nelson.
Yeah, I don't know what the mechanism is for our survey. I know we did a deer survey back in 2024, but if we could just maybe investigate whether or not that may be appropriate at this time.
That will go on to, yep.
Sounds good.
Alderperson Hanson.
Now that, so the VFW is planning to rebuild the flag pole monument at Bicentennial Park, and that fell through, and so now we redirected the funds for another project. But I'm just wondering if the city can look at possibly taking that project on. I know they wanted to do it this year in conjunction with the 250th anniversary of the United States. If it's not possible this year, then possibly as a 2027 budget item.
Thank you. It's noted.
We can refer that.
Other questions, other future agenda items? That was a lot. Up next, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Nelson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.